Real Madrid, they only needed a point to go back above Barcelona to the top, but they would have wanted all three. They lead the way after 13 matches, 32 points, plays 31, and it's Villarreal who are having a great season so far. They're in third, a couple of points back on 29 points. 3 games now without a win, 2 in La Liga, and then that 1-0 defeat at Liverpool. Do you think this moment, this period is Xabi Alonso's first big test as the Real Madrid manager?
Yeah, I think it is, and obviously you have in between that an international break, which is sometimes frustrating for a Xabi Alonso who wants to be working with his players on the training ground, and you don't, because so many international players are gone for international duty, and important games at that as well. So you don't know which players come back, where they're coming back from, so the team selection is key and it's important. Vinicius Jr. obviously left on the bench for this one, but they went obviously with Rodrigo, who is now 29 straight games for Real Madrid without scoring a goal. He got into the starting lineup and didn't take his opportunity. But at some point, you've got to credit the oppositions. Elche were well and truly up for this game. They made it very difficult. And if you're trying to break down, okay, Real Madrid dominated in possession, created more chances, not by much. It was a little bit more possession they had, a little bit more shots on target, a little bit more shots taken from Real Madrid. This was an Elche side that didn't want to lose this game and were actually trying to win this game in their own battle. So I think they really challenged Real Madrid to see what they were all about. And I think this tells you a lot about Real Madrid. They never gave up. Their desire to get back into this game and find a goal from somewhere. Very happy for Jude Bellingham. Obviously important for him to get goals and continue to score goals for Xabi Alonso. Very happy for Kylian Mbappe and his creativity. But I do think that Real Madrid just needed to find a way. That goal from Huijsen was important because that was one that actually built their spirits and maybe had a chance for them to believe they could go and win it. And then they conceded again. So that's the spirit right now of La Liga. It's competitive.
It's not just Rodrigo who's not scoring goals recently. He started the game on the bench, Vinny Jr. He did come on towards the end, but he hasn't scored in 7 games now. Could you say that Kylian Mbappe is carrying this team, that there's too much reliance on him to score the goals? No one else is contributing.
I do agree with that, but Jude Bellingham's also contributing as well. That's actually 10 games with both a goal and an assist since he actually moved to La Liga. His statistics, way better than he had in Germany, by the way, way better than he had in the championships. He's become a better player. But I do think that Kylian Mbappe, he shoulders a lot of responsibility, obviously with the high-profile name. I think he's the one that they rely on heavily. That miss from Garcia there that you just saw, that was really disappointing. He probably should have been a bit more braver. Actually, had he been a bit more braver, he would have got his goal. Vinicius Jr. came off the bench and obviously was trying to have some sort of an impact in this game, but he had 1 block shot. That was about it. But listen, I would love to sit here and say Real Madrid struggling, they're going to be shocking. They're still my favourites to win La Liga. I think Xabi Alonso knows that this was points dropped. Actually, when you look at the big picture, I'm going to say this. I think it was a point gained because Elche were absolutely fabulous in this game. Febas stood out, the captain, got the opening goal. He was absolutely brilliant. Rafa Mir was excellent in creativity as well up front and obviously held a great platform for them, holding up possession of the ball and basically creating chances. And Elche, in my personal opinion, could have scored 3 or 4 in this game. It was just a great game.
Well, they could, yeah, exactly. It was a great advert for Spanish football. They could have won the game as well. I mean, they scored 2 against Real Madrid. They could have got plenty more than that. Why is it that in these occasions, and we saw the same thing against Vallecano in that draw prior to the international break, why is it that these teams who are really up for it, because you know they brought the same kind of fight to Real Madrid, that they haven't always been able to get through them? What's the reason? Yeah,
these teams are very difficult. Listen, I made an earning in my lifetime as a professional footballer playing at this type of a level where you're in the bottom half of the table fighting for your lives. And sometimes if you drop down the divisions, you're fighting for a paycheck. I mean, these are players who are going up against Real Madrid trying to create history. So I think there's every opportunity for you to do it when you have a performance like that. Elche made it incredibly difficult. The statistics don't lie that Real Madrid had their chances to win this game. They took 20 shots, they had 7 on target. But if you look at what happened, look at the opposition. Possession, not far away. They took 15 shots, Elche, 6 on target. They had glorious chances themselves. At the end of the day, we need to stop, obviously, the media nonsense sometimes that maybe I'm guilty of highlighting Real Madrid shocking, drop points, and actually say, well done to Elche. They put out a top-class performance, and they made it incredibly difficult for Real Madrid in this game. And credit to Real Madrid as well for not giving up. They could have lost that game. They found a point, and I think they'll be happy with that point because that point now puts them top of the table.
Does it change your feeling at all in terms of the title race? Obviously, Barcelona winning, Real Madrid failing to do that this weekend. Does it I know we've talked about this in the past, that you think Real Madrid are going to win the title in Spanish football. Has that changed your view?
No, not really. I mean, again, I go back to, I think it was important that they picked up a point and didn't actually lose that game. Those games could be quite tricky for you. And sometimes you see it in a season where Real Madrid are drop points there, or Barcelona could drop points there. But you mentioned it there, the 3 without victory is slightly concerning, and it is important to get back to winning ways. Coming up in the Champions League, it'll be a big one for them against Olympiacos, and then obviously in league play right after that against Girona, and then they've got a big one away against Athletic Bilbao.
But to be honest, the way that Athletic Club played against Barcelona, I mean... They've not been great this season, have they?
No, not great. And I think the red card didn't help them in the second half against Barcelona. But I'm expecting a rebound performance from Real Madrid against Olympiacos and put up some big numbers. And then you've got that game against Girona, which again, I think it will be a performance that they should put up big numbers. Normally that's a close game for them against Girona. But I do think that Real Madrid will go into that matchup looking to get a clean sheet, get 3 or 4 goals in the back of the net and continue momentum going forward. They are my favourites. And I actually think they'll win it before we get to April.
Could they win those next 5 games in all competitions? Right at the bottom, you've got Manchester City coming up in the Champions League as well.
Celta Vigo's a little sneaky one as well. They're starting to find form at the right time after a disappointing start. Listen, you never know. And again, look at this performance from Elche. It was excellent. And these games are not hard. You got to go. I think it was like 18 players, 19 players from Real Madrid who were on international duty. And then you've got to bring them back domestically and expect 2 days later after getting off a plane to bring your top-class performance when you've got crazy people like me trying to chomp you down. It's not easy. It's not easy whatsoever. So, yeah, sometimes you got to take your hat off to the opponent and actually say well done to Real Madrid for picking up a massive point.
Do you think one of the issues that Xabi Alonso will have to address over the next couple of transfer windows is the depth issue for Real Madrid? They've obviously got a big squad, but do you think he's got enough quality in reserve when some players start to get injured? Because they have got a few players out.
Good question as well. And they obviously left Vinicius Jr. off the bench, and they left Valverde off the bench. Camavinga came off the bench. Garcia, obviously the youngster as well, came off the bench. They've got quality, but the 11 that went out there, Trent getting the start, actually wasn't too bad. I know he gave up possession a bit at times, and obviously a bit disappointing with that. But that is an 11, as far as I'm concerned, that should be enough to beat an Elche side. And listen, you can only say, okay, listen, if we're going to rotate it, what happened? What went wrong? Rodrigo not performing well. He had a good chance in the first half, then didn't do too much after that, therefore taken off the field. Kylian Mbappe got his 1 assist. Jude got a goal and an assist. It's not bad, Adam. It's not bad. And in this battle, it's about inches right now. It's not about obviously getting that mile right now. It's going to come down to that April-May period where the World Cup is right around the corner and maybe we're still in a La Liga title race. Atleti might have just put them back into that title race as well. But this is brilliant to watch because it's not easy for Barca, it's not easy for Real Madrid. But the importance right now this season for Xabi Alonso is he's got to win a trophy. And for me, this is his easiest route. Win that La Liga title. That's so valuable, so important, takes pressure off your shoulders. I think domestically they're going to do that.
Be interesting to see how they get on in the Champions League against Olympiacos this week. If they lose that or don't perform well, bit of pressure on